What I do first thing in the morning is feeding my nila fish. Nila fish is what fish farmers choose to breed because it eats basically anything and its meat is delicious. I have about 20 nila fish in my backyard pond. I usually feed them twice a day, once in the morning and once in the afternoon. When I feed them in the morning, it feels peaceful and makes me fired up to start my day when seeing them gobble all the food. Next is feeding my koi fish. Koi fish originally comes from the nation of the sun, which is Japan. It is very famous for its colorful pattern and beautiful fins. I usually feed them in the morning while checking the water filtration system to make sure it runs smoothly. After I fed my fish, I usually make my morning coffee. Coffee actually contains caffeine, which can prevent us from feeling sleepy, and it helps you feel energized. First, make sure you have grounded coffee beans and prepare your glasses. One for a drinking glass and one for measuring water for a shot of coffee. After that, put some grounded coffee beans in the filter. And then spread it evenly so the steam can reach every single particle. And last, get some water for your shot glass. Now, after I make my coffee, I head straight to my room to check if I have some work to do from before. Today, I actually have assignments from my static class. I use colorful pen to do my homework because it eases me to differentiate changes in my equations, and it helps me to highlight things that I want to emphasize. Static is a science that evaluates a structure in static condition. When structure is in static condition, it means that the net force of that acting on it is zero. This means the acting force from external is neutralized by the force from the structure. This helps us determine the force that each truss is facing, thus help us to choose the proper material for it. In this case, is a structure of upper deck bridge, which the load moves through the upper section of the bridge structure. Okay, so now I want to tell you about my hobby, which is reading a book. Maybe reading a book is a boring and unpopular hobby amongst the youngster nowadays, but I really like it because I feel like you can learn from others' experience, and because experience is the best teacher, so I think reading a book is basically the best way of learning. And by reading others' experience, you can learn and you can avoid their mistakes, so you don't have to fall to the same hole with them. But I don't only read some non-fictional book, but I actually read some fictional books. Mainly the genre is thriller because it makes my heart pumps and I'm involved in the story. Like this book, Laut Bercerita by Leila S. Chudori. This tells you about the rebellious era on the perspective of the college students that want to organize a movement against the regime. And this is actually a fictional book, but it's not a thriller. It's about the journey that a person has that actually changed her life through education. And this one, I actually love this book because the way that the writers tell the story, it makes you like you live in the book, in the story. And it's about a thriller about a woman who has agoraphobia, which is the fear of going out of home. And but she witnessed there is a murder across the street, so it's kind of frustrating about to battle her fears, her own fears, and but also capturing the murderer. And it has a lot of plot twists also. But I don't only read fiction, as I mentioned earlier. I actually read a lot of non-fiction like this, The Godulation by Richard Dawkins. This book tells you about the argument that maybe the deity that we thought is not necessarily true. And another example of it is A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking, the greatest thinker in the 21st century. This book actually explains about time and space, and it actually open your mind to some really crazy ideas that I actually love, and but it's actually true, so it's a scientific but also like fiction in some ways, because when physics are applied in the extreme conditions, it actually feels like fictions. So yeah, since I have a lot of free time now, I will gonna read this book. So let's do that. Okay, so I just finished reading the chapter 10 of this book, but I think the most interesting part in this book is the chapter 2. Wait a second. Yeah, this chapter 2, which titled Space and Time. It talks about the speed of light and how it interacts with things and how it shapes our reality. And it actually the speed limit created by gods in this universe. And what do I mean by that? Well, you cannot actually go beyond the speed of light. And what happens if you do go beyond the speed of light? Then you will actually go back in time, and that is that can cause a lot of problems and paradoxes. Like if you know the grandfather paradox, when you go travel back in time and then you kill your grandfather, but then if you kill your grandfather, then you will never be born, and then if you're never be born, then your grandfather will still be alive, and then you will still be alive, and then you can go travel back in time and then kill your grandfather, and then it repeats on and on and on. And actually that is very crazy, but that is what happens if you go beyond the speed of lights. Another thing is, this means that there is no like instantaneous things that happens, because everything travels at the speed of light at maximum, which is around 3 million meters per second, and it is symbolized by the letter C. And the speed of light is actually not just some random numbers and just the speed of light, but it's actually the speed of causality, which is what the C stands for. And what do I mean by that? Well, if you go beyond the speed of light, that means you go beyond the speed of the causality. And if you do that, then the causality effect actually reverses. So the effects actually comes before the cause. And for example, maybe you drop this book. In normal, the book will be falling after you drop it. But if you go beyond the speed of lights, the book will actually fall before you drop it. And I think it's very crazy, and it amazes me how the author, the Stephen Hawking, came up with this idea, or maybe the scientist before him. And it inspires me to take seriously in my study and in my education, because if you do work hard in your study or your education, you can actually reveal more truth about this world which we don't know a lot of about. And I think that's why I love reading books. And I actually have like habits, which is I write something interesting if I read it, like quotes from the books or maybe phrases from a movie or videos. For example, maybe let's see, this one I actually wrote this on 2020, so it's 4 years ago. Which actually says that the only way someone can improve his self-worth is none other by learning. No matter what it is, always learn with humble. And learning is not just surviving or enduring, but also enjoying. I actually got this from reading a comic, and this inspires me to never stop learning in your life, because that is the only way you can improve your self-worth. Maybe another example is this one. Oops. So the first bar says, don't limit yourself, it's easier that way. It actually means when you have some maybe like tests or assignments or maybe exams, you may actually go nervous, and then you will doubt yourself and have anxiety on how your abilities or what you can do or what you cannot do. And it actually you will act like fearful, and it actually limits what you can do. So what this phrase is saying is, just don't think about it, because it will actually limit yourself. And when you don't think about it and you just do it, then you will be free from like anxiety and doubts, and it's actually easier that way. The second part is actually comes from a song called Mama by Jonas Blue, I think. It says that don't wanna wake up one day wondering where it all goes. It actually means that you should not spend your time carelessly, because maybe one day you might actually wondering where it all goes. It inspired me to be mindful with what I spend my time with. Like maybe did I reaching on my goals, or maybe do a lot of fun stuff that I might remember along my life, so I don't regret it, because I think regrets are the most painful thing in this life. Another example what I wrote, oh, this is my goal when I was in high school, which is accepted to the Institute Technology of Bandung, which I did, and but I'm here now because some family situations. And yeah, this is actually my journal, maybe if you can say it, for my learning process along this life. So don't stop learning.